Wow.
Wow, this is some really deep stuff.
I don't know what just happened, but something happened inside of me. Something snapped, something sick.
I wasn't expecting that
either. Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It's beautiful.
Monster is like really small, but it had to become that to stop me.
And then the hurt child became present when you mentioned it.
And I didn't realize this until now.
There were things that I didn't remember until now.
Funny, I haven't seen that before.
It feels like I'm the monster. I'm kind of seeing images of things. Of a world where they can exist. This clarity brings all kinds of answers.
It's clear. She hugged me and then went back to her place, I guess, in my heart. Oh, it wants to come out. It wants to bippity boppity boop Cinderella me. She's melted into my chest. It's ooey gooey.
All week been finishing things, cleaning up more, started eating vegetables again last week. And it kind of just started happening. It's almost like I just finished going through a meditation session.
I feel light. When you hit that first joint, in the morning, and
I actually feel a lot more awake.
Just trying to get organized or live this change. My mother's passing, and
sorry to hear that.
Thanks. Yeah, okay. And the news was in March while I was on the trip. That's how fast cancer struck. Very aggressive. So it was a lot.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Thanks. Yeah. Actually the hardest thing so far, I think, for me in my life right now. So that's the reason why I'm I don't know if I could post this yet. I feel like maybe.
Yeah, please don't. Yeah, I appreciate those parts and their concerns, and they can relax because I have zero pressure, zero need to do that. I want to talk with you. I want to do good work with you, and I try to entirely put the podcast out of my mind when I'm working.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, I won't mention the P word then.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm wondering how to. So it's been a while since I've done IFS, and it's been a while, because I was terrible at upkeeping, and B, I was especially terrible at upkeeping, and C, I'm still a little bit. I guess my work has been very demanding, and so it's been. That's a whole other thing. I just feel swarmed by work. Yeah.
Okay. When you say upkeeping, you're talking about your solo practice?
Yeah, I was already bad at it, but definitely couldn't really. March was a lot of duties and sadness and being there by a bedside, and so it was a little traumatizing. I mean,
Yeah.
I think I'm okay in certain ways, but definitely completely drained.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wow, I think, and just going back into work after
Mm-hmm.
some, going back to work, just boy, like that was good distraction, but also not like it's just a lot of work. Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
very feeling a little, yeah, anxious about that.
Um, I just want you to know, if you're feeling completely drained, again, like I want you to know that there's nothing that you have to do in this conversation, and I don't have any, agenda about how we do it or where we go or anything like that. So I just want you to know that
Cool. I like
you're
that.
welcome. Yeah, welcome to take it however you like.
Yeah, no, that's good. I appreciate that. I yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, hard for me to even feel parts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was reading this book though on part. What was the name of it? I illegally downloaded it. Um, Somatic IFS therapy.
Mm-hmm.
So, so like it's funny. I guess it was a little bit upkeeping that way. Reading
Mm-hmm.
some of it, because I feel like a lot of the manifestation of this trauma and fatigue are
Mm-hmm.
very physical. Plus, it's getting cold in
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
city, and I don't know. Yeah, that book. I don't know. I think I read a quarter of it.
I think I also read a quarter of it.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I mean, she was going into where did I stop? She was sort of going into um, what's that principle by air, like the temperaments of or like air and heat and
Yeah. Yeah. That would sounds like a place where I would stop also.
yeah, I stopped. Like I'm like, okay, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like especially like yeah, traditional Chinese and um Ayurvedic use
Mm-hmm.
those principles, but I was like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So and when you say that you did kind of implement some of that, like what from that book has worked for you or has, yeah, just stuck with you or.
I'd say I didn't even implement anything. I was more like, again, I think it's nice. Like there was examples but it made me feel like, okay, yes, like to me, when my therapist introduced IFS and when we have IFS, I feel feels very physical for me and it's
Mm-hmm.
manifest physically. And there's like a focus on a physical part. So reading that book just reminded me of pretty powerful the
Yeah.
experiences I've had with it.
Yeah. And has your therapist done somatic stuff with you?
I guess in a sense, I mean, it's not like she was invoking it. It was just coming out during when she, when we were doing, I guess, parts work. She's very, her background's in, well, her approach is mindfulness, and she does EMDR and all these things that end up, in my opinion, in my past working with her, like ends up being very, somatic or sensory.
Yeah, I have a lot of curiosity about that stuff. I feel like it's kind of a big blind spot in my own work, like my own journey, and also, of course, in the podcast, where it's kind of I never do video. It's like, we talk about parts in the body, but that's all we can do is talk about them, really. So yeah, I'm always up for learning more, and just really curious about that.
Yeah, it's funny. Like this therapist was recommended to me, and then I've also recommended her to others, and we all come back and like talk about how our sessions were, and everyone seems different. Like, if the tool seems to help, like she'll usually, so she caters, like, so for me, IFS was like, began to be the main modality, and so to speak, and meditation. So like all our sessions were basically meditation in the end. And then I got like, oh, that's like, I thought like, oh, my friends were doing these meditations, but no, they weren't. And so like she has a big toolkit. Like,
nice.
Yeah, I like her. She's just really, well, I shouldn't say expensive. I could afford her, but I think I've like gained a lot from her. But it's the practice that I have trouble just making this time to, like, I'm just completely drained in the morning. And then I just go to work on the computer, and then it never ends. Like,
yeah.
Getting sick of this computer work.
Yeah. I understand that. My career journey has gone from very active and physical to not at all. I have to like make myself go do stuff that I don't need to do for the business to just to get some exercise. Because otherwise I'm also at a desk all day.
Yeah, I can't do. I've done this for 2 years now. I can't even make time to go to the gym. That's the thing. I need to motivate myself. The motivation is still not there.
Yeah.
But then when I get into the gym, I go wild. So.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Yeah, I was doing the gym thing for a while, but I live so far from everything, so I mostly built random equipment in my home, and
great.
It's all right. It's still it's boring and not very wild. That's what I'm missing, but anyway. So, shall we get into a parts exploration? Does that feel like it would be? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you like to start with a minute or two of meditation?
A minute's good, yeah.
Great. I'll set a timer. And then I'll ask my usual questions, or maybe we can go wherever we want. Okay, I think my timer might have broke. That was probably a minute.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So, got any parts that you know you'd like to explore, get to know better?
Yeah, this is a weird detour, but the only thing, well, I shouldn't say the only thing, but the only big form of excitement in my life is this part of studying poker.
Yeah.
I've been studying poker, very keen on this whole game because it's very strategic, and I'm still awful at it, but I can't give up. We can set aside losing money because I don't think it is about the money being lost or gained. It's more the part feels excited. The part is near my heart right now.
Near your heart?
Yep.
All right.
And yeah, it's one of the most curious parts right now.
One that you're most interested in getting to know?
Yeah, I want to know. I want to know why. Why? I know why. Why this interests me, but yeah, maybe I should think about, truly getting to know it.
Okay. Would it be a helpful experiment for you to say the reasons that you think why, and then we can compare that if we can learn from the part and see if we got it right?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the biggest is it's a challenge that is complex and involves strategy, and there's an art to it. There's now I'm talking about the game, but but why the part's interested at, and it's a system. It's deals with communication in a way. It deals with all these ideas of value and denying people. It's a very interesting game, and there's an element of chance to it. But overall, like, I feel like it's unique because most people, I think, consider it gambling, but I think like there's a lot to it. There's also this idea of it being sort of a game where you learn emotional regulation. You learn you learn how to take a loss. You value your loss. You evaluate the situation, and if you're in a good position, you can calculate that loss as you can just calculate for the loss. I don't know. I've never experienced a game like it. Never experienced some. It's very philosophical. To me, and I think that is the main intrigue. Although it's completely, and the other intrigue is it's technical, which I I'm attracted to technical systems and analyzing and doing, I guess, comparisons and stuff. So I've come to this hobby. And oddly, I guess, like the reason I feel fulfilled by it, or I want to even feel more fulfilled, I'm still bogged down with everything else. So I feel that it's hard to connect fully right now, but I'm spending hours thinking about it and watching it. Like it's an addiction like that, just thinking about it.
Okay. Yeah. I do want to get to the part, but I do have kind of a practical question just for clarity. When you were listing those things, you mentioned, people consider it gambling, and you don't have to answer this, but I'm curious if is money always involved when you're doing it or not? Like, is that an integral part of it for you?
Well, most of the time there is, like, to play, I use money, and I've lost. I'm not going out and asking for loan. I'm fine with the losses. But I mean, it's because this is part of the learning. I mean, the idea of it maybe being profitable, like that's the idea of me studying it, which I have a coach. So that's nice, but it's not about that. I mean, and Saturday I played with people without real money, and I enjoyed it. But it's funny, I guess, in a way, the incentive becomes real money, and it is. Even though I say it's, people see it as gambling, I guess it is a gambling. Like it's part of casinos or poker rooms, so can't deny that it is a form, because you're betting, you're calling, you're betting, the incentive is that you can make, but yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I was just wanting to understand that connection and how much of that is involved in how you're doing it. Okay. So, parts.
Yeah.
What comes? You mentioned it being near to your heart.
Yeah.
Is there more that you can see or sense about the part or parts that want to play poker and study it?
It's like this part I was talking about. It's an excitement and curious feel. It is very juvenile.
The part is?
Yep. If I were to say if there was an age, it would be like 8.
And when you say juvenile, does that carry any negative connotations?
Well, I mean, sort of, in a way where now I'm comparing it to what is emotional regulation for an 8-year-old. It's usually not there. Or not.
Can you say that again? I didn't quite follow.
I'm like, now that I brought up, like, oh, this is a game of emotionally regulating, or this part doesn't feel that regulated. It feels excited.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And how do you feel towards it?
sometimes, yeah, I almost feel like I should tame it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm happy about it. Happy. Feel like this part, new or old, I can't even tell anymore, is very excited.
Is that happiness its happiness? Like it's happy to do what it does?
Yeah, it's mutual.
Mm-hmm. And when you say tame it, what does that mean? What are you envisioning around that word taming it?
It feels like it's eating me, like it's growing. It's maybe a little too excited.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Well, that makes sense to me. To have that concern that a part is too excited, eating you. Yeah.
I think
So,
it's
mm-hmm.
I think the reason, yeah, again, it's such a strong, almost like the only part at the moment that feels active and um,
Right, yeah.
and very active, and also
it's the not drained part.
yeah, it's the not drained. That's
Mm-hmm.
it's the not drained part. It's the part that I'm I feel like I'm looking forward to, and it seems to look forward as well. So,
yeah, okay. So, my goal will be to try to learn from this part and listen to it and see what it has to share with us.
yeah, I think maybe
I just want to acknowledge the part that wants to tame it, and I understand. Like, I don't want to. I'm not saying like it. I'm not saying it isn't a problem, or if it's eating you and it's growing, so I'm not like disagreeing about what might be a better outcome. I just want to kind of acknowledge if there are any parts that are kind of fighting it, to acknowledge those parts and ask them for space so that we can just listen to this one, this excited one.
Yeah, I think there's a buffer of space.
Excellent. Great. Okay. And how about now? How are you feeling towards the excited part?
Questionable. Like, there's a lot of things in this where I almost feel that, okay, this part is becoming this ambitious leader. And the other part right now, actually, which feels like it's coming from the top of my head on the right side near my eye, is now I'm bringing another part into it.
It's great. It's fine.
Not skeptical of it in a way where it's doubtful if this, like, it's the one that's like, oh, is this ambition going to, is it worth it? Is it I guess coping. Is it a coping mechanism? Which I'd say myself, in a way, yes, it is. I mean, it's a way of, it's something that I look forward to that helps me take me out of my thought of, or depression. So yes, the coping thing, it's just, I don't think it's entirely critical, this part in my...
It's skeptical.
Skeptical, yes. Like, it's because it's almost like it's a new thing that, like in like many new things, I have a tendency sometimes to just fall off track or just get disinterested really fast.
Okay. So that all makes sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay. Let the skeptical part know that all makes sense to you. Makes sense to me too. See if you can ask it also for space and see how it responds.
Yeah, I think I'm separating it, so.
Nice. Okay. You turn back to the excited one?
Yeah.
Okay. How are you feeling towards it?
Yeah. Good. I mean, I think it's throwing so many different viewing knowledge or thinking about things. Oh, it's I almost am like a little bit restless leg syndrome right now, even like this thing reciting things to itself.
Yeah. So it's kind of has its own world of ideas and all this stuff going on. You're noticing that about it.
Yeah, it's that, and I guess I haven't experienced that in a while. So I think that's another thing that I acknowledge is that it's inspiring and creative energy, this part.
You're also noticing how it gives you the restless leg. So you can let it know that you notice all of those things. Like you notice its energy, you notice how its energy kind of blends or manifests in you physically. Yeah. And then you could just try asking it if you can get its attention, what it wants you to know about itself.
I'm getting a phrase, I care about living and thriving.
Living and thriving. Okay. Does it have more it wants to say about what those mean for it?
I think it's like acknowledging something like, oh, you're gonna get there one day.
Hmm. Yeah. Do you know what it's referring to? Or do you want to ask it? Where does it want you to get?
I think it's both life and the game.
Hmm.
Yes, it's interesting because I didn't know how to play earlier this year. I didn't know until January. That's when I started to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sort of like the same part. You talked about, like, I guess even we talked about how you never traveled.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're going back. I'm not going to equate this to this, but like for me, that's what happened with traveling too. Like I didn't go on a
Yeah.
plane until 2023, and I took a big trip, and then I just started going on planes like twice a year, and it almost feels like that. It's like this excitement of like something new that this part seems to like think it's part of, would be part of my life.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
yeah.
And did you get any more clarity on if there is any about when it says get there one day? Is there more that you can see or understand about a possible destination arrival point?
I honestly think it's like proficiency in this game,
Mm-hmm.
and funny, I guess it's insinuating that it's like a life goal, and I again, it's weird even thinking about that because like I mean, even when I say that out loud, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
it's not even
Kind of
this. It's not
strikes
this.
you as
Yeah,
kind of funny.
it's not even the skeptic per se. It's like
Uh-huh.
everything. Like I'm like, oh, really? Is this
Yeah.
a calling? I'm baffled. Why? Like I still don't. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah. That's great. We're curious. And so yeah, if the skeptical parts are, giving you space, and if you're feeling curious about this part, you can just ask it to explain more about why that is important to it.
I think the part's telling me that it's a challenge of learning, winning, and losing,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that perhaps that is, uh, yeah, almost a life lesson.
Yeah. So it wants to see you really competent and proficient at the lesson of winning and losing both.
Yep, because
Yeah.
I guess ultimately that's a game. To
Yeah.
me, that is
Sure.
like
Sure.
that's like a
It's like the game of life.
yep.
Hmm. All right. So that makes sense to you? What it's describing?
Yeah.
And why it's important for it, or at least one reason?
I'm yeah, definitely got a more sense of that.
Okay. Just let it know that makes sense to you.
Yeah, I think it's good. Good. Good acknowledgement.
Yeah, sounds like it. Another just clarifying question is, what is this part afraid of happening if you didn't become proficient in that? Or if it didn't work so hard?
I think it trying to say you'll stay the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I guess the same is okay.
Mm-hmm. But it doesn't feel like it's okay or okay enough, right?
Well, yeah, it's excited to win big or grow in value.
Mm-hmm. Grow in value?
Grow in, like, yeah, I say grow in
Mm-hmm.
value as like a pun, or, but it's true. It's like what the game is about.
The game is
Value your
about
growth, trying to build your resource. I guess, yeah, ultimately that is the goal. But, and now I'm just talking for myself, but I think even if I lost, I'd be still accepting for now. For now, which I am. I am losing bits and pieces here and there.
Mm-hmm. Does this part, when it talks about value, is it referring to kind of your self-value, the way that you feel valued?
Yes, in a way where now I think that value, because I've been such a blabbermouth, or I've been telling, like, people see it in me.
Yes.
Like, yeah, the need to succeed, it's now implied almost as like, yeah, we want to value this new interest, or you want that, or is part of you now. This challenge, or like this style of what a challenge is now, or
yeah. And so if it didn't help you accomplish that, and if it didn't use its energy in that way, then it would be worse than just being okay or being the same, right? It would be some feeling of not having value or not having enough value. If I'm off base, please correct me. I want to make sure I'm hearing it right.
I think, like, if it wasn't there, or gosh, it's
just try asking it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's so in me that I don't even remember what was there before.
I wonder if that is part of the importance of its role. And maybe you can ask it, does it help you not remember what was there before? Were there feelings there before that it wants to exile? That it wants you not to feel?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I feel like it's saying like you needed me to see the world differently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You still feeling curious towards this part?
Yeah, no, I'm now getting this idea that you needed me to see the world because the world felt more like something that you needed to win all the time, but this game, you can't expect that.
Ah, okay. Got it. So it's saying you had a perspective about needing to win all the time, and it's saying this game is good because it's teaching you this humility and this balance of winning and losing.
Ironically, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah?
I think what was there before though was I want to know more. Hold on. That's
Yeah. Stay with it.
it is like a lack of control in general. I think that's what the part's saying. Like before there was, I don't know if it's an emptiness or this part, or I think it has been. And I mean, I know like going back to January, going back to the 2 months before then, that was an exposure to this concept of gambling,
Mm-hmm.
this excitement that people get from winning something of value and just, but then I discovered this game and I guess it's more calculated. There's more actions that you pursue
That you do control.
that you can control and you can
Mm-hmm.
expect in a way.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Um,
Right.
why did I need that excitement in my life though? Like that came from a trip to Vegas because I was tired of being at my desk.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's one need that it fills is the excitement, get you away from the desk.
Yeah, definitely. Even
Mm-hmm.
though ironically it was at a desk still. Um,
Yeah.
it's online.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it sounds like this part does a lot. It does a lot for you.
Yeah, it's very engaged and active.
Mm-hmm. And do you feel appreciative to it? Can you show it appreciation for wanting all these things for you?
I can. I think I'm still going to have to work with it though, because it's hard to stepping back from this is actually hard to like be in the right mind headspace to do the thing that it enjoys. Um, um, but yeah, I appreciate it because I really don't think I don't like, I guess it is helping me. Yeah, going back to coping, I guess it is helping me cope in the sense of like, oh, there's something that is inspiring me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that I've like weaved into my life very fast.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate it. There is the danger still. Like,
Right. Yeah. I wonder if you
no,
can
yeah.
just, now that you have appreciated it, you could ask it about its thoughts about the danger, or its thoughts about, earlier you said like there's some fulfillment, but it's not, it's not full fulfillment. You might just ask it about how it feels about it, the effectiveness of its job, and if it has anything else it wants to say about the danger or anything else, if it recognizes any of that.
Mm. I think the danger is its own excitement still in a way where the parts, it's funny, it's like it knows that it can take away from, it can be, um, what is it? You can spiral in it, or not in the sense of like losing money, but just you can,
More
I feel
emotionally.
like, yeah, you maybe separate, separate in a way.
Get
Um,
kind of get kind of wrapped up in.
yeah, 'cause I
Mhm.
agree. I'm very wrapped up in it. Very.
Yeah. Is there anything that the part would like from you, whether it's to help with the wrapping up or it's to help with anything that's come up? Does it have any requests of you?
I think it's saying breathe and relax.
Hmm. Anything else? Anything else? Anything that it wants that you can provide for it?
Yeah, maybe it is like context, like putting it in its own place, or like at the right time, rather than letting it train itself thinking about
Mm-hmm.
things.
Mm-hmm. And is that something that it's asking for? It's saying like it itself has felt kind of unbounded, and it's asking for you to help guide it, or help come up with boundaries for it.
I think it's actually saying yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
It's
feels like a little bit of
smart
a,
parts.
yeah,
They
interesting
know what
part.
they know what they need. A lot of them are in that space where it's like they know they're working too hard. They feel it too. Um, but without self's presence and without somebody to check in with, they're
Yeah,
they yeah they don't have that kind of
yeah,
kind of
this
feedback.
this part definitely, yeah, interesting.
Mm-hmm. And how does the part like being able to just talk with you in this way and share with you in this way? Follow-up question being, does it want to plan more of that? Does it have requests around doing more of that, or what that might look like?
Yeah, I think the part is, and this is not even about trying to be good at this game. It's actually like telling me, like it feels like it feels like this whole, like, talk, settle me a little.
Settled you?
That's what it's saying.
Yeah.
Settle.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Does it feel like something, I mean, for you to get back here with this part, is that something you're up for? Is that something that you want to try to plan and think about action steps, or do you have any thoughts around that?
Yeah, I have an idea for the action steps. I've been thinking
Awesome.
about it already in a way, but
Yeah.
I think, I feel definitely more attuned to the purpose and why it also needs to calm down a little bit and have its own context. So
Nice.
I think it's mutual feel.
Nice. Okay. So, you can stay with this part and keep asking it whatever you want to ask it, or offering it anything. There's some parts in the periphery that we could kind of name or circle back to, just to have a more clear kind of map here, if that would feel helpful.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. So, there are the parts that are in kind of opposition with this one. So maybe the skeptical one, I know that's not quite opposition, but it's skeptical. If the taming one was a part, you might just kind of check back in with them, let them know that you are here and you are able to go and meet with this part, learn about it, come up with some ways to continue that relationship and see how that settles you.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are what I would consider kind of exile trailheads. So when we're asking the part, what it's afraid would happen, and it gave us some answers. And I'm not sure how clear they are. Those would be paths to follow another time, and with protector's permission, and with this part's trust.
Right.
But yeah, some of those that I heard are like the stuff about value. Is an exile having a feeling of not being valued, and this part is trying to kind of make up for that. The feelings of not having control. You mentioned a feeling of emptiness.
Yeah.
So those are, any of those could be trailheads for kind of the parts below the part, or the parts that are driving it in a way to work so hard.
Yeah, I definitely feel well, all this mentioned, it's not even the skeptic. It feels like my whole stomach. Maybe I'm hungry, but just even the idea of all this coming out during this time of grief or coming out of grief. I feel that there's a big contrast of these parts.
Right.
So
right.
maybe I will explore this. I know we're probably at time.
Yeah, and I can talk with you a little longer, but yeah, I wouldn't suggest that we go into exile territory at this time, just because that's usually an even longer, exploration.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to continue with you, get you back on the calendar and explore any of this stuff.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
I guess you're.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, sorry, you can go.
I was just going to say, sometimes just having that glimpse of which direction exiles might be, sometimes even that can be really comforting for them to know, or for you to go ahead and send them the message that you are interested in continuing to get to know them, and providing what you provided for this part, which is somebody to listen, somebody to watch its back, to be there for it.
Totally, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Feel it.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Always is.
Yeah.
Oh, and one other thing we could circle back on, just kind of at the top of the, we mentioned, like, because you said, like, oh, I already know why it does what it does, and you had this list of things, and I said maybe we would compare the list to after we hear from it. So I don't know if any of that would be useful, but yeah, your descriptions were kind of about the game and about the strategy and the kind of the intricacies of the game. And this part seemed to have a more of a kind of an emotional, I don't know, I didn't hear it talking much about the intricacies of the game. Maybe that's because we already got those out on the table, but
yeah, you're right. This whole dialogue with this part didn't bring that up first day. I mean,
yeah, it's talking about living, thriving, proficiency, the game of life, winning and losing, control, lessons, growth, value.
Which I guess they are parts of the game. But that's the thing. I think that's why the game is so symbolic to me.
Yeah, totally. I get the connection. I get the connection for sure. That the game is a vehicle for those things, especially to this part. This part sees that as a great match.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess maybe next session can explore the other ones.
Awesome. I'd love to. Do you want to help bring more self-energy to the world? If you'd like to participate in calls or help out with this project in any way, I'd love to hear your ideas. Join the Discord server or contact me at james@liveifs.com. A huge thanks to our audio engineer, Yvonne, for your care and diligence in editing the calls. To every caller for your courage in sharing some of your parts. And to anyone out there getting to know their internal system, keep going. Who knows? That might be the most selfless, helpful thing you can do for others, and you're the only one who can do it. If you'd like to see us reach the largest audience, we must please the almighty suggestion algorithms at iTunes and YouTube. And they don't care about the power of IFS. They're looking for likes and shares and comments, and the sooner the better. Follow the links in the show notes right here in your podcast player to make your wishes known. And now, a minute of meditation. Or if you prefer, pull over. You can do it in 60 seconds. Just click one of those links. They're right there, and give us a like or a 5-star rating. It would really help. If you think this project is helping people, you're helping people by sharing it. Thank you.